And what is going on, y'all? It is Keaton at Real here. Keaton Hargett here with another episode of the Probscast. I know it's been a while. I did not record last week, and I'd like to first off apologize for all my loyal listeners. I know that y'all were DMing me, asking me what was going on. And to be honest, I just started a new job. I've been a little busy, a little preoccupied. This doesn't 100% pay my bills yet. So it's been a while, and it's been a good while. I contemplated that maybe this podcast is the reason Oklahoma State started losing. Then I had to remember that I started this podcast in 2021 when we had the best season in the last 10 years before that. So I didn't put it on myself, thankfully. So I really appreciate everyone for tuning in. I'm trying to do these more early in the week. I know doing them on Fridays seemed a little difficult for me. So with all that being said, it's been a great while, and I really urge everyone who listens, go and follow me on all socials. It's typically at the Probs or at OKSTPROBS, OK State Probs, or you can find me on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, however you want to listen, and you can find me at the Probscast. So I really do appreciate y'all, and shout out to my sponsor. They really urge me to do the best way that I can, and they really support me. Home Field Apparel. Make sure you use code word PROBS, PROBS, for 15% off your first purchase from Home Field Apparel. And let me tell you something, Home Field Apparel has really helped me, but y'all really helped me as well, because I looked at the numbers on people that were using that code, and it blew my mind. It blew my mother's mind, and my mother doubts me a lot. My mother's one of my biggest haters. As much as she loves me, she likes to drive me that way. And even when she saw it, she thought it kind of shocked her, which is always a good thing. I'm exclusive to Home Field, and I love Home Field Apparel. What I can say is thank you so much as well to it's universitytraditions.biz. For all my radio listeners, I apologize. But they sent me these two really cool hats. They're rope hats with the Oklahoma orange. It's really, really cool. I got a lot of compliments. I made it back up to Stillwater, second time since I graduated back in 2021. And I went for the Kansas game. And man, what a game. What a game. What a game. And there's a lot that I could open up with that. And I'm going to kind of juggle between the two just because I missed last week as well. But the week before, I was telling everyone, hey, when Gundy has the chips down, he seems to do really well. And, I mentioned Mike Gundy following a bye week, having one of the most successful records as current head coaches. I mentioned that this is not the same Kansas State as last year. I mentioned that the Big 12 was looking really, really bad. And now we look at this. After 2 wins, things are really turning around. Oklahoma State is tied for third in the Big 12. Tied with West Virginia, by the way, who just lost to Houston on the road. I was a believer in West Virginia, at least over Houston. I took them plus 2.5, and a former cowpoke went and took that money straight from my pocket into my bookie's pocket. And I mentioned it, and I'm not an I told you so person. If there's one thing in life my father taught me, it's that no one likes an I told you so person. And all I want to say is we're back in it. And we're going from fire Gundy, bring in someone new. He doesn't care about NIL. He doesn't care about the transfer portal. And let me tell you something. If there's one thing that I've seen Mike Gundy adjust to the best, is his ways to adapt when people in his own circle begin to say what we say. Mike Gundy's mentioned that he's not on Twitter. He might not even know that I exist. But if there's one thing that I can say, it's that we said we want one quarterback. He started playing Bowman. If you look at the stats, Bowman wasn't shining any more than anyone else. Gundy said that he saw something in practice. Now, how he couldn't have seen that months prior, I don't know. We said we wanted to give the ball more to Ollie Gordon. Hey, Ollie Gordon's getting the ball more. And I think it's just people within Coach Gundy's circle that told him, hey, I think some changes need to be made. And for my radio audience, I apologize. This is on YouTube as well. But I have a small video of Coach Gundy on the screen of him dancing in the locker room following the win over Kansas. There's one after Kansas State as well, but he's doing a handstand and the team's holding him up. It's almost like the classic Coach Gundy. And this isn't all about Coach Gundy. There's a lot of things that have gone in Oklahoma State's favor. You know, people can say that it was a messy win from Kansas. And I'm not saying that it wasn't a messy win, but what I am saying is if I told you the stat line between Jason Bean, the quarterback for Kansas, as well as Alan Bowman's, you would have thought we would have lost. The Jason Bean went 23 for 34, 410 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's a really good stat line. And Alan Bowman, he went 28 for 41, not too shabby, 336 and 2 touchdowns. What I can say is Jason Bean played a lot last season. Jason Bean's a University of North Texas transfer, and he's a little bit cocky. He went over to our student section while they were up and said something around scoreboard with another word to our students. And that's whenever he went 2 interceptions, a fumble, a punt, and they lost the game. So thank you, number one, to Jason Bean as an Oklahoma State fan. But on the other side, it felt like a classic Big 12 Mike Gundy-led showdown. We came out the gates 14-0. Ended the first quarter 17-7. Kansas came back. They went 18 in the second quarter with 7 from us. And Ollie Gordon looked like a legend. I believe it was, I was reading something on social media. Of course, I'm not going to be able to find it now. It was Ollie Gordon there's no other player in the past 7 years that has reached Ollie Gordon's rushing and receiving totals in the same game. That's pretty impressive. And that seems to be somewhat of a trend with Gundy in the sense that we have a Chuba Hubbard or a Justice Hill or Chris Carson or, it might not be the biggest Derrick Henry name or Bijan Robinson or something like that, but we always have some stud running back in the backfield that really lights it up when we need to. And I'm not contributing all of this to Coach Gundy. And I talked to a lot of the players there. Getting back to Stillwater, it was absolutely amazing for myself. It's so funny. I actually wrote down like this whole script on how I was going to progress through everything, but I've just kind of thrown it out the window and they're just notes at this point. So bear with me here. But one of the big things between Jason Bean and Alan Bowman is I felt like Jason Bean ending the game with 2 interceptions, a fumble, and then turning the ball over, is that Alan Bowman really showed out in the fourth quarter. Alan Bowman took the team to the next level. And this is the part that really kind of worried me, but I mean, a win is a win. But our leading rusher was Ollie Gordon, 168 yards, 29 carries, and a tutty. And then our leading receiver, yards-wise, was Ollie Gordon, 6 receptions, 116 yards, and 1 touchdown. Then we had Rashad Owens, if you can kind of see where I'm going with this, 9 receptions, 112 yards. And Brennan Presley, then Blaine Green, Josiah Johnson, and Jaden Bray. And it's just so different to me because it seems like we're just so used to having a badass receiver on the outside, and I'm not taking anything away from Brennan Presley. Brennan Presley had a touchdown, 8 receptions, 79 yards. It's just a different style of winning that kind of gets me fired up because as Gundy remains so consistent with having some sort of, stud running back in the backfield, it's like we're winning in a different way than we used to. Gundy's kind of changing some of the things around. He's listening to the fans a little bit, or listening to the people on the inside of his circle who are listening to us. And he's really adapting, and it gets me fired up 100%. And I for one want to act more shocked than I am, but with the way that Oklahoma State has played, especially while I was there, and kind of chasing this dirty bag from 2021, it just feels right that Oklahoma State is getting back to where they need to be. And I can't harp on it enough. The Big 12 is not that great. When Texas beat Alabama, people freaked out. I said it beforehand. I think that Texas is good. I'm a little skeptical on Quinn Ewers. I don't think Oklahoma is as good as everyone says they are, and I'm biased. I get it, but ultimately, you look at the remaining schedule. I can pull it up. Okay, we go to Morgantown. And just as a reminder, Oklahoma State has not lost in Morgantown since 2013. That was West Virginia's second year in the Big 12, by the way. Morgantown's amazing, by the way. If y'all ever have a chance to make it out to Morgantown, I went for 2021. It's a beautiful city, beautiful people. It's actually a felony to light a couch on fire there because whenever they win, which used to be rare, they tried to make it ticketable. People didn't care. They tried to make it arrestable. People didn't care. And they said, hey, actually, if you light a couch on fire, you cannot vote and you cannot own a firearm. So wild. It's a wild place. And I love John Denver. Texas Tech alumni sang a song about West Virginia. And but you look at the remaining schedule, and we got to go to West Virginia. Okay. We have Cincinnati at home, night game, homecoming. Then we have Bedlam. I don't even want to talk about that right now. Then we go to the newcomer UCF, newcomer Houston, and then we have BYU at home. This is right in front of us. I have been very optimistic, and I've had on a lot of guests on this show, and I got some crazy ones about to come on. Now that it's crazy whenever Oklahoma State begins to win, these people that I've been hitting up whenever we were losing, they didn't want to come on and talk about Oklahoma State. But not me. I'm courageous. I would never bail. I'm joking. But at the same time, the new Big 12 members, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're a combined 2-8. Someone's going to fact check me on that, but a 2-8 against the new, or they're in conference right now. One of those wins being BYU over Cincinnati, if that counts. And then the last one being a Hail Mary caught by a former Oklahoma State Cowboy. My point being is I don't see much trouble coming from those four schools. West Virginia could be scrappy, but we're looking at the Big 12. They just lost to Houston. They get a long week. I'm not taking that away from them. Then we have Bedlam. That could go either way. But for the most part, let's say we win every game except Bedlam. Okay, so we're sitting at kind of freaking out. We would be sitting at 5. What? We'd be sitting at 5-3. No, what? We'd be sitting at 9-3. God, you can tell I did not pass math class. I was doing that all off the top of my head. But it's all in front of us. And I really do trust Mike Gundy in a lot of this just because of the way that he's prevailed. And it looks like he's more fired up. If you listen to it is one of the players' Instagram lives following the Kansas State game, you heard some fire, and it was not supposed to be filmed. But Gundy said in the video, which I cannot find, I've scoured the internet. If y'all know me, I'm on the internet all the time. And I scoured, but apparently Gundy said, we own them MFers, which a couple of the players in the locker room confirmed to me later on while I was looking for that video. Gundy told one of my sources that he's spending 13 hours a day inside of the facility. My other source told me that after the South Alabama loss, he showed up 10 minutes late to practice while the president of the university was there. Gundy is listening to us, and it's exciting. It's an exciting time. And I really like doing these podcasts on Monday night. It's actually 12:38 p.m. here. I had Texas Rangers Day, Dallas Cowboys, and with Mike Gundy, and I knew this was going to be a late night for me. But I really like doing them on Mondays because then I get to get a little bit of the press conference and give that to y'all. I know a couple of the fans reached out. If there's anything that y'all recommend for me or anything like that, be sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe, however it works. I promise you, I'm freeballing majority of this, so I really appreciate everyone here. But just a little bit of a word from Gundy's press conference today. When asked about the newcomers, he mentioned that he wasn't really watching them, but then turned it into NIL. So check this out.
What are your thoughts on kind of the way the four new teams have kind of struggled?
I couldn't even tell you what their records are, to be honest with you. I don't pay any that close attention to it. You guys asked me this a week ago. Obviously, Oklahoma's playing really good. Texas must be, probably have a good team. Beyond that, I don't know anywhere in college football if anybody can predict who's winning. College football has turned into the NFL based on the portal and the NIL. This is the NFL from here on out, meaning you're going to see a lot of 6-win seasons across the board in college football because of the parity, teams dominating, maybe other than your top 6 or 8 schools that have an unbelievable amount of for an athletic budget. Everything's going to be the NFL, just like the Browns beating the 49ers yesterday. I didn't see it. Somebody told me, but just look across the country at what's happening. It's everywhere. So college football now is going to be week to week. It's going to be hard to predict who's going to win based on players moving around all the time. So it's turned into the NFL.
I love it. Every time Mike Gundy gets behind the microphone, I know I'm going to love it, man. He really does dominate the playing surface when it comes to managing a room. And when he's up, it gets me more fired up because I know that he knows the right things to say. Now, when we suck and we lose to South Alabama and compares himself to Saban, it's a little bit tougher to joke around the way that he was. But ultimately, this dude knows what's going on. And I don't know what the fire was that got underneath his ass. I don't know what changed this around. But if these are very reliable sources I have within the building, and they're telling me that something snapped and he's spending day and night inside the facility trying to figure out ways to win football games. And let me tell you something. As an Oklahoma State fan, I freaking love winning football games. The drinks taste better. People look better. The parties are bigger. That's what it's all about, And man, it was a blast getting back to Stillwater. I can't wait for homecoming. I'm going to Bedlam. It's an absolute turnaround the way that the season has been going. And it's like we're working with exactly what we thought. We wanted Ollie Gordon to get the ball more. We wanted Alan Bowman to be a QB1. And I absolutely love it. For everyone listening, a moment from my sponsor, Home Field Apparel. Make sure that you are using code word PROBS for 15% off. That's PROBS. A lot of people are using it. I swear to God, it's the softest material you'll ever feel. I personally have been offered a lot of deals, and I didn't like them because I didn't really support their products. I'm telling y'all, Home Field Apparel, they use retro logos. It's the softest material. My mother has some. My girlfriend went and got her some. It's absolutely amazing.
Hi, Dan O'Sullivan here for Home Field, the vintage-inspired college t-shirt brand that's going to change your life. Is your closet still full of the same raggedy, itchy shirts from your college freshman orientation? Oh, wow, that's pretty itchy to me. Look at how raggedy these raggedy shirts are over here. Look at that. See you later. Great news. You're an adult now, which means you could go ahead and buy extremely comfortable, high-quality shirts from your favorite school with great designs. Do you need to shop for the sports fan in your life who has little to no personality outside their favorite sports team? Well, Home Field has you covered with 150-plus schools to choose from and designs that any sports fan will enjoy. Have you ever wondered why colleges went away from their classic and vintage logos? Well, Home Field is bringing those designs back.
Finally, a brand that appreciates the good old days.
I told you to stay in your room, Grandpa. Now get off the set. Go. Get out of here. Unique campus traditions, campus ice cream stores, marching bands, baseball scripts, national championships, surfing anteaters, dunking elephants, so many retired mascots. And if that's not your jam, we have a rock and a mink coat. Just look at everything that you get with home field. But you gotta act now. Each premium officially licensed t-shirt sells for $34. But if you shop in the next 20 minutes, you're gonna get the same premium officially licensed t-shirt for the same price of $34. There's no difference.
So Home Field Apparel, make sure you go check them out. And before we get out of here and everything, I just wanted to make sure that we checked in. West Virginia, like I said, if you're going to the game, absolutely amazing time, absolutely great fans. But we're looking at it, and West Virginia starts off. West Virginia opens up as a 3.5-point favorite. I don't bet on Oklahoma State. We are one of the best teams against the spread since like 2010. But I'm not for betting on my team. I like to enjoy the game, and I suck at betting, so there's no point in me doing that. However, Oklahoma State is, like I said, they have not lost since 2013 in Morgantown. It's their second year in the Big 12. And Gundy, I mean, you just look at these teams, and it's like Gundy has just dominated them from top to bottom. I mean, the only one that we haven't is Oklahoma. And outside of that, what they're leaving. And if Gundy has the same fire under his ass, I mean, we're going to smoke him like a cheap cigarette. But with that, I bid you all farewell, and I really do apologize for not making it this last week. Make sure to go to pokeswithapurpose.com. They are the official NIL collective of Oklahoma State. They're matching up to $300,000 for all football donations. And, man, they're just kicking ass left and right. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I absolutely love being a part of it. I got to meet a couple of the other board members. Man, they're some of the nicest human beings. And when I tell y'all, like, I literally don't get paid a dime. I have student loans. Like, I have a truck payment, right? And I've never asked for $1 from them. Haven't really cared about that. And no one, all the money's going directly to the athletes, is my point. It's absolutely insane. And thank y'all so much for helping me get across 16,000 followers on Twitter. That's really, really awesome. If y'all know, the account actually got banned right before I took, probably like a year before I took it over. And there were 30,000 followers. So this climb back has been absolutely amazing. And I really, really appreciate everyone who tunes in. It means the world to me. I met a lot of y'all. And man, it was a really, really good breather being back in Stillwater and not having to, see all the mean people on social media, say this, that, or the other. People are nice in person. Everyone doesn't act like that on social media. So I appreciate the community that we've really built through here. And till then, man, I'll catch up with y'all after the West Virginia game. Go Pokes.